its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid, right? I've never seen a fish try to climb a tree. So why do human beings try to do things that they shouldn't do? That is something very important to think about. Knowing all this, how do you, we're starting to, until now it's all fluffy, we're talking about concepts and breaking some of our assumptions and all that. But how do you actually do it? I gave you an example with my why, okay? I'm gonna continue with examples about my personal life, just because I have access to it. I actually wanted to call this my houses, like my courses, but then so this is my why, and how I'm gonna achieve this. Okay, I sat down and I thought, how can I benefit people? The first thing I need to do is educate myself and increase myself in diverse knowledge, because I'm trying to benefit everyone, not just a specific group of people. So I have to be, diverse in what I know. I have to learn practical skills because I want to benefit people, not just things, theoretical things. And I want to learn from the best. If I want to do something, I want to do it well. And good, the best people in their fields are the best because they do things well. And I want to take notes because I have to, I'm going to be learning, hopefully, some things, so I have to put them down, and I have to share them because I want to benefit people. So, and you could do this completely differently. Again, even if you have the same why, you might find completely different things here. But this is just an example. Now that I know how to get there, what are the actual, how am I going to get there? Am I going to take my car? Am I going to take my bike? You went on Google Maps, you put your A and B, your destination. What are you going to do? Are you going to take the metro? Are you going to take your car? Are you going to walk? What are you going to wear when you're going to walk? Are you going to stop for a bit? Even if you take the same path, are you going to stop or are you going to keep walking? This is, now we're getting into our objectives. If you want to, when you start working in the industry, you're going to see something called key performance indicators. Managers call them also SMART goals. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Anything that you want to do, anything real, has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be attainable, and it has to be realistic. And you have to put it in a schedule, and you know when to start and you know when to finish. This is what we call SMART goals. And again, using my personal life, I've decided, I'm going to educate myself and gain diverse knowledge. How do I do this? One way is to read books. Okay, and I'm not going to say I'm going to read books. I'm actually going to choose specific books, and books happen to be measurable because they have a specific number of pages, right? And you can read them in a specific period of time, so they're time-bound. And we can all, I can read at least, and so it's something that is attainable and realistic, right? So again, I said I because it's all specific to me, it's specific to you, right? You always have to keep this in mind. I didn't just want to use books, I wanted to actually go on websites as well. So this is another one that I can use to achieve my skills and the knowledge that I want to learn. And I wanted to learn diverse things, so I thought, TED is a good place to do that. I'm not interested in business at all, but I find great value in learning from other fields, so I'm going to read the Harvard Business Review. I wanted to apply practical skills, and TED talks about ideas, but it doesn't tell you how to do things. The 99 is one place to learn that, and so is Stumble Upon. So this is an example, and I said, I want to learn from the best. Okay, who are the best? How do you define best? This is very subjective. Again, you might see two people in the same field say, okay, he's my inspiration. I might say, no, this guy's my inspiration. So I made this huge map. It's pretty small here, but it's actually really big. And I've made circles, I've divided it into fields, and I've put all the people who inspire me there, like not everyone, but the key figures. And I decided I'm going to look at this every now and then to see where I'm at and compare, myself to these people, because in the end I want to learn from them, right? And taking notes. I thought, okay, this is very important actually for taking notes. A lot of people, they start writing their journals, their diaries, their thoughts on paper, but they buy the cheapest notebooks you can find, and they don't take it seriously. And psychologically, for those of you interested in psychology, if you want to take something seriously, then you have to invest in it, right? You have to invest money, you have to invest time. So I bought, very expensive notebooks, very, but they're amazing because they forced me to really value my thoughts, to only put down the ideas that really matter to me and that are really beneficial, right? So this is something important. When you want to put for yourself smart goals, don't just, do a good job at it. Take it seriously and invest in it. And sharing. I wanted to share. Okay, I thought we all have access to Facebook and Twitter, so this is a good place to share. But I wanted to share, I wanted to benefit mankind. So I didn't just, not everyone has Facebook, and I don't know everyone on Twitter. So okay, maybe I'm gonna start a blog, and maybe I could write articles for. This is a entrepreneurs hub in the Middle East. So this is one way for me to achieve my objective of sharing. Okay, now we're getting more into the time management stuff, right? How do you fit this in a schedule? It's nice to say, okay, I'm going to read books. I bought my books. I'm going to take notes. I have my notebooks, my expensive notebooks. And you have everything that you need to do. It's there. You can touch it. You can measure it. It's smart and everything. But what do you actually do in your day? So it turns out there isn't one correct way, but I'm sure you know this. But I'm going to talk about the few mistakes that we do, okay? When you wake up in the morning, the first thing we all do, and I do it, is we check our phone, we check our Facebooks, right? Our brains are in their freshest states in the morning, right? You can think of the most complicated problems. You might be able to come up with relativity on your own if you think in the morning, right? So don't use that time to do reactive work. Don't use this time to respond to things. Use it to think. Use it to meditate. Use it to reflect. This is the time when you read and when you write, because you're most efficient at this time. This is why, a lot of you here are Muslim. So this is why we wake up at this time to pray, because this is a very efficient time, right? Also, don't pack your schedules so that you don't leave room for, Google Calendar likes to breathe, and you like to breathe as well, okay? A big mistake people do is that they put, they pack their schedules and then they say, I've managed my time well, it's rigid, it's solid, it looks good. We need renewal times. As human beings, we need to renew our energy. And one of the things that they recommend, this is from Tony Schwartz, and the Prophet ﷺ actually did it, is that he took naps in the afternoon. The power naps are very powerful. They really help us regain energy. And this is usually between noon and 3 p.m. If you take a half-hour nap, it can do miracles to you. And if you're going to go somewhere, like if you know that, for instance, I have class, and then I want to go home and study. I'm not going to put studying half an hour later, knowing that it takes me exactly half an hour to go home. Because you never know who you see on the way. You never know what happens, the metro might stop. You never know, you might get a phone call when you get back home, you have to talk to your grandma or something. Leave margins of error. This is good time management is about leaving margins of error. This is something very important. And we're talking here about short term. Now, again, do all your reflections and your creative activities in the morning. Try to have, a good chunk of the day where you don't check your phone and where you don't check your Facebook and all that. I'm going to get back to this, but this is actually, if I had the choice of only telling one piece of advice, it would be this, because I feel this is our biggest problem today. And we're going to talk about this more later. Now, that was short term. That was talking about our daily schedules, right? How does short term reflect on the long term? For me, for instance, let's say I wanted to read 40 books this year, okay, 2012. January comes January, and then I say, I want to read 40 books. How am I going to do this? I have to think, okay, what do I have to do? I'm interning full-time from January to at least August. And then I also have my class from January to April. My class is 3 hours a week, and then I have to study at least 3 hours. What am I going to do? How am I going to fit this? It's unrealistic for me to put 4 books a month. Okay, a lot of people, they get excited. Yeah, I'm gonna read, 4 books a month, and then you start the first 2 pages, and you're happy the first night. You read 3 pages. The next day, something happens, you don't, and then you realize, oh my God, I didn't finish the books I had to read. Or you start a new book so that you can feel better about it. You start another 3 pages. What I realized is that it took me 45 minutes going to work and 45 minutes coming back from work. Instead of and what I did also, something very interesting, is that when you leave at 5, everyone leaves at 5, and usually leave with a lot of people you know. So I wanted to benefit from this time. So I left a bit earlier, and I used to read on the way back and on the way to work. And that really helped me. So use those times where, you're commuting. And another thing that really helped me, especially in the summer, is that almost everyone I had a meeting with was late, 5 minutes or 10 minutes late. So I always had a book on me. I took it out, and I'd read. And that was amazing because I read about 700 pages just from people being late, me waiting for them. That's amazing. So, you have to be really, it's also about having a plan B, right? This is something that, I just thought of. You always have something with you. In case the metro stops, in case, your class is canceled, always have a backup plan. This is this will force you to think ahead of time and to actually benefit from anything that might go wrong. Another thing, for example, if you want to, let's say, now it's always about going back and forth, right? It's not just about looking at short term and then long term. You might actually need to do the opposite. You might say, okay, I'm gonna read 40 books a year. How is it gonna reflect on my short term? What am I gonna do every single day so that I can achieve 40 books? Now, okay. By the way, I'm gonna go into, when we talk about the tips later, I'm gonna get back to some of the points. That's why I'm covering them. So this is called surface covering. Now I'm going to talk about the 4 dimensions, the 4D. Delay, delegate, diminish, and delete. Now, we're going to delay delaying because it's going to come later. Delegating. A lot of you, are involved in extracurricular work and social activities and community work. Don't be afraid to ask a friend for help when you need help. Don't be afraid to say, Muhammad or Jack, I have a lot of work this week, and something unexpected happened. I attended this time management workshop, and I took all the precautions necessary, but then something happened. I need your help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. People are always willing to help, and you always have volunteers in your associations. So this is something that you should make use of. Don't diminish. Don't set 10 meetings in one day, and don't take 5 courses and be involved in 10 associations. And go to the gym 5 times a week, and socialize with everyone, and then complain that you don't have time to do more. This is unrealistic. That was before, but don't put that was exaggerated. But some people, even for some people, 4 things is too much. Put 3 things in one day. Focus. Spend quality time on things. We're gonna get back to the elite achievers and the difference between elite achievers and normal people. And you'll notice that it has to do with this. Delete. Now, delete is a big one. I put a separate slide for it. Unplug. Okay? This, most time management gurus, I've really looked at dozens of articles in preparation for this. Most time management gurus will tell you, forget your phone. They actually use bigger words than this. Forget your phone, put it in your bag, focus for 2 hours, take a break without looking at your phone, focus for another 2 hours, and then check your phone for a bit. Allocate some time to respond to your emails, to your text messages, and to your phone calls. Don't, because the thing is, you're studying, you're sitting happily in the library, and then, zzz, zzz, this happens all the time. And it's not just phones, it's also people, they come to you, they tell you, hey, how are you? All this, you can't stop people from coming talking to you, but after a while, if you're in your first year, you don't know this, but then after 3 years, you kind of know which people your friends study in, which libraries your friends study in. So you don't go to these places, don't let them find you and then say, what, I couldn't study anything because I saw everyone there, and then you want to take a break and you find that everybody's happy, hey, come join us, This happens to all of us, but you have to be really smart about it. One thing that I attended once, a time management workshop here at McGill, long time ago when things were in black and white. And one of the recommendations the person who was giving the workshops told us, put a baseball cap or something, put a hoodie, don't give your face to the entrance of the library. Take hide yourself a bit. That was, that's a simple advice, but it actually works because I've tried it before. And without the baseball cap, just a hoodie. So that is very important, and actually a lot of studies have been done about this. This is just one example. Okay, when you multitask, it really affects your brain negatively. It's not. We're not meant to operate like our cell phones. We're not meant to work with multiple tabs open. Okay, this is your computer, and not your iPhone, your Samsung. So, but we're not meant to do this. We're meant to be immersed in, you know, deep, thoughtful thinking. If you, and especially, I mean, I'm talking about this from, I do a lot of artwork, and I'm